Strong Enough merch is now available. Please stop by our store and check out the items that you can grab so that you'll always remember that you are strong enough and you are worth it. Welcome to the Strong Enough podcast, where we talk about the challenges and celebrate the triumphs of people just like you. I'm your host, Claudia. Today's guest is going to talk about struggling with depression, anxiety, and chronic pain. One day she hit rock bottom and decided something had to change. Today she is happier and healthier, and she helps other people clear their energy and improve their lives. Please help me welcome Erin Stabiley. Erin, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited. I think I had to reschedule. There's just been an ass ton of things just happening in the world and my life. So kids, dogs, my grandma passed away. There's just they're just lining up everything. So I'm glad to finally get to be on, and I'm excited for our conversation.
I am also glad. I'm sorry about your grandmother. That's terrible. I'm also sorry about your dog issues. Health issues in pets are something else and very expensive.
Yep. It's almost a car payment at this point. I'm like, oh my God. And we just had to get a third car because my daughter's car exploded. So you're kind of like, all right, universe, let's stack the deck in the other direction.
Yeah, let's have that pendulum swing back the other
Let's
way.
bring the money back in. Let's
Yeah, so maybe that's what's getting ready to occur here. So we got our vibe going on together. We got connected. I see good things happening.
So you got the pendulum.
There you go. It is legit. There's the pendulum. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself other than you're awesome and love the color purple?
Yes, I painted this beautiful wall, watercolor effect. I am Erin Stabiley, mom of 2 teenagers. So if anybody else is a mom of teenagers, you know the pain that I am going through. Quite a few years ago, I had gastric sleeve surgery, and I just needed to change my life, not just to lose weight, to have knee surgery, to just not hate my life. I just really hated my life. And I started Reiki for chronic pain, and it just turned on all of my intuitive gifts. So it really allowed me to heal and shift my anxiety, my depression, my panic, and just really change my life. I didn't really have dreams or goals because I was like, that's never going to happen. I'm just going to work until I die. And that it was just a big shift that I needed in my life. And therapy, medication, all those things never worked for me. So you kind of give up. You hit that point when you're 39, you're like, all right, nothing's ever going to work. Doctors don't listen. They don't care, all the things. And you just really lose a lot of hope for life, even though we had a home and cars to drive and food and kids are healthy. And I just hated my life, and I just finally hit that rock bottom that made me change and shift. And it was huge. So now I get to help other people do the same thing.
I can totally relate to you and understand the struggle. Now, was the struggle that you were going through from chronic pain, from the anxiety, depression, etc., all of the above? What were you dealing with that was the most impactful on you?
So, as everybody has stories and trauma, and a lot of stuff from my early childhood caused severe anxiety. I remember, even as a 3 and 4-year-old having severe anxiety and panic. And my mom died when I was 16. So it kind of shifted my anxiety and panic into super control or super survival. And, I just learned to protect myself. I learned to not rely on anybody. You start building the walls to protect yourself, basically, and needing to let go of that, because all you do all night long, you're just worrying, and you're hating the next day coming, and you're waking up like, oh my God, did I send that email? Oh my God, is this bill going to overdraft my account? Like, it's just, your mind is going so much. Plus my children have ADHD, and I'm pretty sure that I have it as well. So your mind never stops, and it's exhausting. And when I started my spiritual work, I finally had mental freedom, which I'd never had before. And it's such a hard thing to describe, but it's like taking the heavy blanket off of yourself And I didn't know how bad my anxiety, I didn't even know I had anxiety till I was in my 20s. And my doctor's like, that's anxiety. Because I would like black out. I would like stop breathing, panic. And I really didn't even know half of what was going on with me. I just buried it. I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. I didn't know how to deal with my anxiety. So I just buried it all, because when you don't know how to process it or what to do with it, you just protect yourself. It's like the turtle shell. You just do whatever you have to do to get by through each day. And that's just how you learn to live. And Spirit always says that that's your super survival mode. And it is, because I've had weird shit happen my whole life, hard stuff, and it's like, how do you move forward from that? How do you, all the things that have been happening to me lately, my father-in-law passed, my grandma passed, all of our cars are breaking down, the dogs are sick, like a million things are happening right currently. And I don't have to live in the life that I used to of, oh my God, now what's the next thing? I'm like, okay, Spirit, what's going on? Like, yeah, it's still hard to get through, but I'm not stuck in it anymore. I get to live for today instead of worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow. So it really, even if you don't want to be a medium or intuitive, you can do a lot of things to shift your energy, to shift how you're thinking about things, whether you're working with a therapist, a life coach, somebody like me, an intuitive mentor, whatever. There is hope. Like, don't give up. There's something for you out there. You just can't give up on yourself, really. And if doctors don't listen, find a new one. Fuck them. Because you know what? They don't know everything. All they do is check off boxes and they don't listen. So find somebody who's going to listen and figure it out and be invested in you. That's a good thing about coaches, I think, these days, is there's a lot of coaches that are invested in your shifting and your changing and your growth. And I was somebody that didn't trust, and I didn't ever ask anybody for help. So it was hard for me to get a coach. It was hard for me to business coach and spiritual coach and trust another human being, because that's just not something that I've been able to do my whole life. So it's a whole learning process, and shifting who you are and letting go of control. But I can tell you that not having that anxiety and the panic and the depression be the winners in your life, it's a huge, just even that is a life-changing thing. So, I always just recommend just really be open. Like, if you think Reiki is weird, or energy healing or energy clearing and protection is weird, or being an empath, like, yeah, it is super weird, but it's a whole life-changing place as well. Like, whether you believe in energy or not, everybody has it, everybody exudes it. Places, beings, things, they all have energy, and they can all affect your energy. So that was a huge one for me in shifting my anxiety, my panic, understanding how much other people's shit affected you.
That it is crazy how much other people's shit does affect us, and other people's energy. And I know it's kind of like you said, a lot of people don't believe in energy, or say like, oh, that's that woo woo stuff. I don't know. But I think if we put it on its simplest level of, like, if you go somewhere and everybody there is in a bad mood, you feel that bad mood and you don't really want to stay there. That's energy. So it doesn't have to be this complex. Not everybody's there like stirring a cauldron of spells for it to be energy. You said a lot of things there that I want to talk about. First off, you said for a while you didn't even know you had anxiety. I was in the same boat. How many people do you think are like us that are struggling through life and don't even know what they're dealing with?
Truthfully, I would say 70 to 80% of people who have anxiety, who have panic, who have severe depression. And this is not to make light of mental illness, because obviously I suffer, my children suffer, we all. But the thing is that there is a point where you can take control. And yes, it's hard when you're in that deep hole. It's, to me, 70 to 80% of people are affected by energy. They're affected by the buildings they're walking into. They're affected by the people they're working with. They're affected by a negative spouse, by teenage children, man. Like, it took me a little bit to figure out they're also mediums. They're also intuitives. They're also highly empathic people. And one week I was like, why the fuck am I so angry every day taking the kids to school? I'm like, dude, nothing's even, mornings are kind of a shit show, but it's like, nothing has happened to make me this angry. I figured out it was my teenage daughter. Like, she's holding that anger. She's holding that energy. Then she's going to school with 2,000 other angry hormonal people, and whether you believe it or not, even simple things, you can just have that intention. Like, I really want to help Mary today, but I don't want to take her shit home with me. Like, her problems get to stay her problems, but I can still have empathy for that. And you're just creating that boundary for yourself, for your energy. And even simple things I like to tell people, especially nurses, people who are touching people, hairdressers, massage people, anybody that is like constantly in contact with people all day long. Dude, if you're not clearing and protecting your energy all day, like, your shit will tank. Like, you will feel like shit. You'll feel tired. You'll feel depressed. You'll feel anxious. You'll feel sick to your stomach. You'll feel tired. Like, to me, the simplest thing people could do is just clear and protect your energy. And that doesn't have to mean you are a witch. You're doing all the crazy. I'm not a witch. I'm an intuitive. I work for God. Like, he tells me what to do. And simple things. It's just having that intention, asking the angels to clear you, asking the angels to protect you. Like, you don't have to. I need my shit simple and fast, and Spirit knows that. Like, my shit is fast, simple. If I can't do it in the car when I'm going to the bathroom, then I'm not going to do it, because I don't have 40 hours to sit and meditate and clear and do all the things. Like, nope. Spirit and I have created super fast. Like, dude, I'm going into Target. What do I need to protect myself? And then they'll just put lightning on me, or they'll put this on me. I'm like, okay. And that's all I need. I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. And now that I understand it, I know that where my anxiety is usually very, very low. But if my heart starts beating, palpitating, I feel sick all of a sudden, I know that it's a person that just walked into the room, or the client that I'm working with, or somebody that I'm talking to. Like, I know now my energy from other people's energy. So it's super easy to be like, holy fuck, they're a drain. Like, I need to stop, or I need to have better boundaries with that person. And us as humans, we have shitty boundaries because we want people to like us. If we're business people, if we're moms, if we're whatever, whoever we are, we all have shitty boundaries, energetic boundaries, physical boundaries, mental boundaries. Like, if you don't clear the water and make yourself kind of clean and clear, then man, you're just everybody's energy dumpster.
What was the path like for you to discover not only your energy, but just kind of the whole idea of energy and how it affects you?
So I really started right after I had gastric sleeve surgery. I just remember writing in a journal, because it was like December 20th. And it was kind of like New Year's resolutions. I'm not a big resolution person, so I kind of call them intentions, but it's like, I just really need to change my life. I don't know what that is, but I want my chronic pain to be better. I want to feel better. I don't want to feel unhappy or sad or mad all the time. And like, within 2.5 weeks, I think I met my spiritual mentor. I came across her page on Facebook, and she was doing a card pull, and I just followed her for, I don't know, a week or two. And then I had a session and we kind of talked, and she's like, Reiki might be really good for your chronic pain. Because I'm not somebody, I mean, I take ibuprofen, but I don't take like prescription or anything like that for pain. And because I've had this chronic leg pain for like 10 years now. And so I was like, well, can you do that distance? Like, because usually it's an in-person thing. She's like, I don't know, I got to kind of ask Spirit. And she came back to me, she's like, yeah, we can just do it over Zoom. So I joined the Reiki class, and it not only helps shift your mindset and bring this awareness, but that's where it turned on all my spiritual gifts. Like, all the deja vu I've always had my whole life, the weird premonition dreams, I know that was going to happen, knowing that I'm never alone, like all of that stuff really turned on for me. So it was really overwhelming at first, because I was like, holy shit, what do I do with all this stuff? So that's why I worked with my mentor like once or twice a week to just really to get a kind of a head start. And then I did mediumship and Akashic records. I did all of the work, and I still do all of the work, but it was really Reiki for me was what made me aware that there was just more to the world, that you don't have to rely on doctors are necessary, medicine is necessary, but I really understood that I needed to take my health in my own hands and be in charge of it, and not let other people tell me that it's not real, that I'm psychosomatic, like, because now I can tune into my body, into my intuition, into my chakras, into spirit, and be like, okay, something's off. What's up? And I went to the vet with my dog today because she has diabetes. And I'm like, I think we need to go up to 10 for her insulin, because she's still not better. And I'm tuning into her, and he comes back and he's like, yep, doctor agrees, go to 10. So like, you just have this different awareness of what's happening. And I don't love the word psychic. I don't know why, it just bothers me, but I think psychic and witch is something that those words I just don't love. Lots of the persecution, but
that's what I was gonna say. I'm not you, but I'm guessing it's probably the negative connotations that surround those words. You know, we all laugh at Miss Cleo from whenever that was, who was the 1-900 psychic, and so I think experiences and people have given those words a bad name to begin with. So we won't use those. No psychics and witches. Tell me, what for you made you decide to do the gastric surgery? You said you kind of hit rock bottom. What was that for you?
So in 2012, my husband and I were we were like exercising, trying to prepare for like a real Spartan race. So in our area, they were having like a charity mud run. And I'm super uncoordinated. It's not a secret. And I stepped over a hurdle very carefully and my leg got stuck and I fell and my foot was up behind my head. So I just heard my knee pop as it came out, and then my ankle. And it took me 4 months to convince them something was wrong with my knee. My ankle wouldn't heal. So I was on crutches for like almost 8 months that year. But that really started the downhill slide for me, because it took about a year to have all the surgeries and do all the things from that. And then shortly after, my other knee like gave out. It was just like the most painful thing. And they're like, well, did you tear it? Did you fall? I said, I don't know. So they did an MRI. There's like, I don't see anything. So I had shots. I had the Synvesc. I had whatever. So osteoarthritis took over to the point where my knee just, there was no cartilage. It was all bone. So it causes a severe depression. You can't be mobile. You can't take your kids to the park. You can't walk in a grocery store. You can't do anything. Like when my kids would have stuff at school, I'm like, oh my God, I have to park 4 or 5 blocks away. I don't think I can do it. And it took so much of my life away from me. I wanted to have a third child. Like there was just so much in there. And when you're not mobile, you can't it's not just like not exercising. It's like, walk into your car and walk home. Like it was like severe pain. So I gained a lot of weight, and it was like severe depression, because I just felt like my life had kind of been taken from me. And it was just a really hard. So I remember it was my brother's wedding. And they were just taking so many fucking pictures, and I couldn't, like, we had to keep walking back and forth. And I'm like, I'm done. Can't do it. And I just looked at my husband and I'm like, I think I have to do it, because I couldn't have the knee surgery that they wanted me to do. It's called a high tibial osteotomy, until I lost weight. And that high tibial osteotomy was supposed to give me 10 years before a knee replacement. And I did that and it didn't work. So after gastric sleeve surgery, I had the high tibial osteotomy. So they take a big chunk of your bone out, put a big plate in my leg. And after a year, the pain was no better. So I had a full knee replacement the next year. And I still have horrible pain from it. So nothing has really been resolved, and I still really can't be physically active. So it's a whole new circle of things, but that was really why I chose gastric sleeve surgery, because I needed to get weight off so that I could have the surgery, so that I could be mobile. And I like to exercise. I like to be outside. I like to do things with my family. And I couldn't do that, and when you're either worrying about bringing the walker or a cane wherever I go, it's like, dude, I'm like in my 30s, like this shouldn't be happening. And so it's been a long battle for me. And I just went back. I'm like, look, man, I can barely walk 2 miles without severe pain. He's like, well, we can do another knee replacement, but I don't know if it's going to help. So for me, it's just really stuck in the chronic pain life. And how do I deal with it? How do I live with it? How do I move forward? What can I do about it? And so gastric sleeve surgery, it takes part of your stomach, but it doesn't change your habits. It doesn't change your mindset. It doesn't change your shitty, the way you eat or your trauma. It doesn't change anything. It just reduces the amount of food you can eat at a time. Is it possible to gain weight? Yeah, because I've gained weight. And it's all a big learning experience, it's all, how do you get through it? What do you need? What do you do? And it's just here I am again trying to navigate that pain and figure it out and make it work for myself. And so yeah, there's just a lot that compiles in people's lives and things that happen. And people are like, they always say to me, I always notice that you walk funny. Or I'm like, yeah, like, what do there's nothing I can do about it. Like I can't participate in volunteering and walking through parks and doing those things because my doctor told me, he's like, you can't. He's like, just watch where you walk. I said, I have for 11 years. I know that I can't step off of a curb. I know that I can't walk on icy stuff. I know I can't walk through grass. Like it's a hard thing at 43 to have the body of a 70-year-old,
I do, because I feel that way a lot of days. Something I really relate to you on, though, is having a physical ailment that is not presenting itself as it normally would. We talk a lot about invisible illness, and it's hard to get doctors to believe you when you have certain medical conditions. And we normally think of, oh, I hurt my knee, I hurt my shoulder, that there's tests and all these things, and people can see that very clearly. And so it's obvious what is going on. I had a very similar experience to you where my knee, I knew it was jacked up. I couldn't do anything. The MRI didn't show anything. And finally, when they went in and performed surgery, my kneecap was cracked, my ACL was torn, everything that could be wrong with my knee was wrong. And so, of course, I had this see kind of moment. How was it for you, fighting to say something is wrong with me to the doctors who were telling you like, no, you should be fine?
It's horrible because like the whole experience when I fell, it was at a race, a huge hospital fundraiser. I'm laying on the ground and they're like, do you want the paramedics? I'm like, yeah, I can't move my leg. What the fuck do you think? And the paramedics did nothing. They watched me on the ground and they're like, what do you want to do? I said, well, I probably should go to the hospital. And they didn't carry me. They didn't put me on a lift. I had to army crawl to the gator, try to get myself up, and my leg bent as I was doing that. And so I had to drop to the ground and they're like, here, just come to the front. While 4 paramedics are watching me do this for myself, like pull myself into a gator. And my small child who's like, are you going to die? Are you going to die? Was watching this whole thing. And it was like, it was traumatizing. So then we get to the hospital and they're like, nothing's wrong with your knee. You're fine. I'm like, no, something's wrong with my knee. It's not fine. And so because I couldn't walk on my ankle, I had crutches and they're like, you need to start putting weight on it. I said, I can't because my kneecap shifts back and forth. I said, there's something wrong. And they're like, no, you just need to walk. I'm like, I fucking can't. I don't know. And the ankle doctor was a huge asshole. And he's like, you just need to move. I can't do anything for you. It's like, fine, we'll put you in physical therapy. And I looked at her and I said, something is wrong with my knee. Please, can you please? This is like the 4th doctor that I've been to, because they made me do a DEXA scan because they thought maybe I had low vitamin D and that's why I wasn't healing. And finally, the physical therapist, I was like, please, I am begging you, please, can you look at my knee? Something is not right. And this was 4 months after I had fallen in the race. And she goes, I don't think you have an ACL. I'm like, well, does that hold your fucking knee together? She goes, yeah. And she's like, I don't think you have one. So she went back and talked to the doctor and they ordered an MRI and they're like, yeah, you don't have an ACL and the meniscus was torn and this and that. So it took another 6 weeks after that before I could have surgery because they were so busy. So I fell August 2nd. It was November 29th or 30th, right before Thanksgiving, I think, before I had surgery. And over the winter in Iowa, like I had to keep my crutches until probably January, February, because like it was just not stable, being that long without it. And it was like, you shouldn't have to fight that hard for yourself. Like, why? And for my other knee, I went through 3 or 4 MRIs and they're like, nothing's wrong. And then my last doctor, he's like, I don't know why anybody didn't catch us. This was a simple meniscus tear. This could have been solved like with a simple surgery. But here I am at 43 having I had a full knee replacement at 40 because somebody didn't take time to read a fucking MRI. That's their only job, and he's like, well, maybe the right people aren't reading it. I'm like, then why those are the fucking people reading it? If like I had to have a fucking plate put in my leg and a full knee replacement because somebody wasn't doing their job. And it's like, how do you even say that? Like, oh, no big deal. So let's just let this poor woman like not be able to walk, or, you know, just everything because one person was being lazy, or I had 3 MRIs. So 3 different fucking people didn't read a fucking MRI, you know? And it's like, it's heartbreaking how your whole life can be destroyed by somebody's non-caring, you know?
How has it been for you to deal with not being able to be physically active? Like, I know for me, physical activity is very important for my mental wellness, I have learned. And so if I go long periods of time where I can't do something active, it definitely affects my mood and happiness. How has that been for you?
It's really hard. I grew up playing every sport there was. I could bike 25 miles at a time, like, you know, and basically you can't do anything more than walk. I can't run, I can't jog, I can't jump, I can't like squat, I can't do any of the things. And it's still really a hard one for me to deal with, because it's like, well, I'm only 43 and I'm in this much pain. What happens when I'm 53? What happens when I'm 63? Like, I just had to get under my desk before this to move my to move my microphone a little bit. And I can't be on my knees because I've had knee surgeries. So like I have to get up in a weird way. Like sometimes it's hard for me to even get on the floor. You know, there's just so much that I'm scared. I'm scared. What if I end up in a wheelchair? What if, you know, because it's like it's a hard and scary place, because man, without your legs, you know, I mean, the last time after the surgery, I'm like, look, dude, if you can't make this work, I want to bounce you leg when I come out of here. Like, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. And they still can't figure out why this knee replacement, why I'm in so much pain. And I can barely walk about 1.5 miles before it'll be like super painful and swollen for days after.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, we're going to Colorado in July to see my brother, and I really want to be in the mountains. I really want to be outside. And I'm like, I know I can't do it. And it sucks. Like, I'll just sit back here. I went to Sedona for a retreat a few years ago. I couldn't go on any of the trails. I couldn't go on the walks. I couldn't, you know, if we go anywhere with a hill, I have to have my husband in front of me so that you know, it's a very, yes, I'm fortunate to be able to walk, but it's still hard, you know, knowing that it was kind of taken from you from negligence and all the reasons. But, you know, it's a hard place to, I get angry at God and spirit a lot, because I'm like, why can't I just, like, please, like, can I just be without pain? Or, you know, and sometimes it's harder than others to just go for a walk or just be out there. And yeah, sometimes I just cry because I'm angry, you know, and it's a hard thing because there's nothing you can really do about it.
Mm-hmm. What has it been like for you? Because you talked about, you know, being that person with some trauma in your past and who built up walls and, you know, was very independent and didn't want to have to trust anybody or rely on anybody. But when you're in the physical pain that you're in, and then you have to have surgeries, you have to rely on other people. So how is that for you to kind of make that shift in your brain to say, I have to accept other people's help?
Luckily, my husband is very good in, I mean, I have 2 kids and they're teenagers, so, you know, they're decently selfish, but my son was good. And I mean, I've had a lot of surgeries. So the thing, especially with knee surgery, is especially with the knee replacement, like, you're walking that day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my high tibial osteotomy, I think that was non-weight bearing. I think I had to be non-weight bearing for 12 weeks with that one. So I couldn't drive. I couldn't do, so it's hard because you can't just get in the car and take the kids to school. Or like my very first fall when I got hurt on crutches, like, my son has severe anxiety and I had to carry him to the car, carrying him to daycare, carry him, and I couldn't do that anymore. So it was very, because he was only like 2 or 3 the first time I got hurt. And it was hard because it's like, oh my God, why can't, you know, like, oh my God. But, you know, luckily my husband's really good, so he kind of took over doing groceries because, like, dude, you can't. 90% of the time, those fucking carts aren't charged.
I know,
So
they're terrible.
I've been in them, and you have a cart full of shit, and you're in the back of the store, and they don't work. So what am I supposed to do? I can't fucking carry them to the front, and you have to just like. Luckily, my husband is good, so it wasn't like I had to pay somebody to come in and do things. You know what I mean? So, but you also have to get up and do the work, and you have to walk, and you have to do things for yourself. Like you can't, just totally give up and just expect the recovery to happen. So there's that fine line of, just asking for help when you're just too tired, or, you do have to get up. Like I've had to have some skin removed. I've had knee surgeries. And like a lot of times you just have to get up and walk. You don't want to prevent the blood clots. You got to prevent, your back from being super sore because you're sitting there all the time. And it's hard because a lot of times, like even now still my leg gives out a lot. So I have to be very careful going downstairs. Or, I mean, there was times on my crutches, I'm like, fuck, I'm going down. Like, I was like, either get in front of me or get away from me. Because I know one time it was a snowstorm. It was a huge fucking pile because we didn't have a driveway, and the plow always throws the shit right after where my husband would just scoop. And he goes to work at 4 a.m, fucking fell right into the street face first. And my daughter's like, are you gonna open the door? And my son was like, I'm like, dude, can you help me up or pick up my purse or do something? I was like, oh my God, this is my life. But you have to learn to, you have to learn to trust. You have to learn to ask, and it's just part of the process. And yeah, I'm somebody who, like, if you don't do it when I ask, I'll just fucking do it myself. Cause that's just like, I'm not asking because I want you to do it in 30 minutes. Like, dude, I'm asking you because I want it now. But that's that fine line. I had a walker with a seat, and I could push my food, or so it was, you just have to learn that mix and that balance that works for you and it works for your family or whoever's around. And if you don't have those people, you have friends. And a lot of people don't ask. A lot of people would rather just fucking suffer or fall on the floor and lay there than to call somebody and ask for help. And I realize that a lot with myself, where I really wish people were there for me more. But then also in the same respect, it's like, well, you can ask. Like if you're really depressed and having a hard time, like a lot of us just want people to check on us, like we check on them, but people are busy, and that's just doesn't mean they don't care about you. It just means that there's just things happening in life, and you just have to reach out and find another doctor, find a friend, find somebody that will be there for you, because you can't say nobody will ever be there for you, because that's not true. Somebody will be there for you. Fuck, you can put a post on the internet and people will figure out a way to help you. You know what I mean? So you can't say that there's nobody there for you in your life. There is somebody. You just have to be willing to kind of go out of your comfort zone and say, hey man, I need help. Hey, I can't pay my rent. I can't, I fell on the floor, whatever it is. Like, I need a ride to the doctor. Like, just start asking, because what are they going to do? Say no? Okay, then you find the next person. But it's not a personal vendetta against you if they say no, but a lot of times people don't know if you're struggling or suffering. And I think the depression and mental health and anxiety world, like, you're so deep and low where you're at, it can be hard to ask for help or do what you need. So just know that, man, just text somebody. If you're just having that day and you're just like, I can't do it anymore, fine, just fucking text everybody on your phone, do a group text, whatever the hell it is, but just reach out, and don't give up hope on the whole world just because some people are shitty.
Not everybody is shitty, only some. You talked about, you still have the days where you're in a lot of pain, you can't do things, and there's times that you just have to cry it out. How hard is it for you to keep the balance of allowing yourself to feel that grief and go through that moment, but not letting yourself lay in that spot for too long where you become just a shell and you're depressed and it's a pity party?
The difference between, I like to say, the old Erin and the new Erin is, I might have a couple of days where I'm just low, or something has happened, or bad things keep happening, and I'm angry and upset, and I'm and then I'm exhausted. So I just kind of ask spirit, like, what the hell's going on? What do I need to do different? What do I need to learn from this? And we don't always know why we're going through things, why things happen to us, why we have that accident, why somebody passes away, why, like, you don't need to know why right now. You just need to know that there's a reason for things. And I really take comfort in knowing, okay, this is happening for a reason. I don't need to know how, when, why, what, where, or when. I just know that it's for a reason. And some days you just have to have a couple low days. And so then I just ask spirit, like, okay, am I supposed to be clearing this? Am I supposed to look into my past lives? Am I supposed to do shadow work? Like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? And some days lately, they've just been like, you just need to sit with it. You need to allow these feelings to come up. You need to understand them. You need to process them. You need to feel them. You can't always just be so busy and moving through things and not deal with things, because that's what got me into my problems in the first place. So it's really, I just check in with spirit. Okay, what do I need to be doing? Do I need to do Reiki? Do I need to clear? Do I need to have a session with another intuitive? Like, what the hell's happening? And even if you're not, everybody is an intuitive. That's the thing. Everybody can connect to their intuition, to spirit, if they choose. And it's really just about listening to your body, listening to your mind. And yeah, you can have hard days. You can still manifest and have a business and do spiritual work and have bad days. Like, it's not about being perfect. It's not about these bathtub beautiful manifesting millions on Instagram. That's fucking bullshit. You can still have a messy life and a hard life. Dude, I've juggled 50 fucking things a day and I still am a successful spiritual entrepreneur, and I have a full-time job and I have a marketing business. I like, you can do all of the things. You can do it messy, you can do it hard, and it's just, don't give up. And so I usually notice, usually it's about one heavy day, and then the next day is kind of like, okay, what do I need to do? But that's my process now. Before it was like, okay, now what's going to happen now? And then you just get that heavy and heavy and heavy, and you just sink further and further. So now I just know, like, okay, what's going on? What do I need to do? Do I need to have a session? Is it something I need to process? Is it something that I'm doing to myself? Is it something somebody else is doing to me? Like, there's this huge process I go through now of really figuring it out, instead of just pushing it down and not dealing with it. Now I'm like, okay, what the fuck is it? And so instead of stuffing it, you're dealing with it, you're processing it. And no matter how hard it is, you need to process it and figure it out, so that it's not a constant problem and it's not weighing on your soul every fucking day.
It's so hard for some people to do that. I think, it's hard for people to be introspective in the first place and then to process. So what can people do to make that a little bit easier, or it might not be easier, but just a little bit more palatable for them to do?
And it's not something that you just snap your fingers and you do. I had 39 years of repressed feelings and trauma and pain and anxiety and all of the things. It's healing is a lifelong process. If you choose to truly heal your soul, heal your mind, heal your body, it is lifelong. There's never a point where you're fucking cured and you're perfect. It's just every single day. Okay, what's going on? What do I need to do? Where do I want to be? What dreams do I have? Do I even think I can accomplish those dreams? It's really just take it day by day. Okay, what's really going on? And I love to write things down, because it really helps me to remember, and it helps me to ask spirit. So I'll channel, or, spirit's always present, because I've developed that skill. But like, okay, what's really happening? Why am I angry? What really triggered this event? Was it the email that somebody sent, or was it the comment I read on Facebook? So where are your triggers coming from? Are they coming from the past? Are they coming from now? And a lot of times our triggers are things that are coming up because we need to fix them, figure them out, heal them, solve them. And if they keep coming up, if it keeps coming up, it doesn't mean that you haven't been working on it or haven't been healing it, but it's coming up for a reason. So what is the reason? Is it because somebody else is triggering you? Is it because somebody else is going through that and you're supposed to be helping them? There's this kind of that's when I work with people, we really dive deep into it, but it's really just that recognition. Like, on my notes app on my phone, I write things down. Why am I feeling like shit? Why am I so angry? So I was okay this morning and now I'm fucking pissed. What is the problem? So it really helps you to sort it out. Did something happen? Is it a thought? Is it somebody else's energy? It's just really that awareness every day of what's going on. Why am I angry? What's triggered me? Why are these flashes? Why is this, event from my youth coming back? All of those things. they come up for a reason. So that's where you have to start processing instead of stuffing it back down or ignoring it, however you want to say it. I say stuff it down. So like you just stuff it and you don't deal with it because you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know how to process it. You don't know, you know, there is no one right way for everybody to process their pain and their trauma and their fears. It's, you have to find what works for you. Maybe it is therapy and a life coach and a spiritual person and whatever. You just have to find and be open to finding what's going to allow you to move forward, you know? And once I let go of the traditional Western medicine is the only way that you can heal and move forward, that's where I was able to really be, you know, find what works for me and put all the pieces and parts together and not have to live that heavy life anymore, because that weighted blanket of pain and trauma and anxiety and depression, it's fucking horrible, you know, and a lot of people don't get out from under it, which makes me super sad. And but it's also our choice, you know, and it can be such a hard choice when we're so into the weeds and it's so heavy, because I don't want to discredit it. I lived 39 years like that. So that was when I really decided to stop living that way, you know, and I didn't stop until I figured it out for myself. And I had stopped a million times before that. So I can't say what's the right time for a person to do that. Big events in your life will cause your spiritual awakening. So, you know, that was just something for me. But whether it's a divorce or a breakup or a loss of somebody or a loss of a job or whatever the hell it is, like, how can you move forward from it, you know, in an empowered way? And heavy shit happens. It doesn't really matter what you do. Hard shit's going to happen. Heavy shit's going to happen. Painful shit's going to happen. But what are you doing to not let that heavy, hard, painful shit make your decisions for you?
I find that for a lot of people, taking responsibility is difficult. And I kind of thought about that when you were talking about looking at what maybe triggered something or what caused a mood. So if I'm now in a shitty mood, what caused it? Do you ever see people that it's always somebody else's energy? Well, that must have been Aaron. Oh, that must have been him. That must have been the clerk at the grocery store. Do you see that? And then how hard is it to break that down to that person and say, maybe, but let's look inside?
So, you know, one good thing about, I've kind of done this my whole life. I just didn't know what I was doing. I could read people very easily. I can read their inner thoughts. I can read their energy. I know how to get into people in not the like gossipy way, but like what's really going on. Cause I always just knew something was up. And some people just aren't ready to be healed. They aren't ready to heal. They're not ready to take responsibility, like you said. And I already know that. I can already feel it. I can already sense it. I can already intuitively know that all they're going to do is make excuses. All they're going to do is say, I've done everything, nothing works. They're just not ready. They're not ready to truly be responsible or take responsibility. And those are just not people that I enjoy working with, because not to say that they don't deserve to be healed or, you know, develop their gifts or anything like that, but I'm not here to convince people to do the spiritual work and to do the healing. I'm here to help people who are really fully ready to like embrace it. And maybe they're a little scared, but they still want to do it, you know? And unfortunately, some people will never be healed. They'll never find happiness. They'll never find a partner that really lights up their world. They're never going to have the money that they want or the job or the career, because they just can't get out of that negative space, you know? And it's such a hard thing to say, just take responsibility, because I know how hard it is. Like, I've lived it, I've been through it, but I also had to really make the choice. And every day I have to make the choice. Am I gonna, you know, have a good day, or am I gonna just let the shit take over, you know? And it's a choice. Nothing you ever do is gonna be like, okay, my life is perfect and it's fucking beautiful and I'm making millions out of my bathtub and that manifesting bullshit. But you can still do everything even though it's hard and heavy. You know, I don't want people to give up hope, and I don't want people to say, well, how the fuck do you do it? The first step is just telling your soul, telling spirit, like, okay, I really do need to change. What do I need? But you have to, I always say, ask, allow, receive. You have to ask spirit for what you want. You have to allow them to bring it to you, and you have to receive what they bring. It doesn't have to be, I want $5,000. Well, spirit might bring you a coupon, and then they might bring you a discount. Then they might bring you a rebate. But if you're over here like, no, I want $5,000 fucking dollars in a check. Well, fuck you, because like you just missed out on probably $10,000, you know, like it's really a lot of mind work to let go and to let go of that control and that survival. And for me, I was a huge control freak. It was a lot. It was the hugest thing I had to figure out was letting go of the control and the protection, because that was my protection method, was control. I didn't have people in my life that I thought were going to hurt me. I didn't have, bad relationships. My mom passing away, like that was my part of my super survival was control. And along with the control comes anxiety and comes panic and comes, like, God, you have kids, everything's out of control when you have kids. And it's like, oh my God, how do I protect them? How do I do this? So it's all things you can learn if you choose. And that's not saying that's going to be a snap of your fingers and you're going to be cured and it's fucking beautiful. It's hard and it's heavy and it's still hard and heavy, but I know how to move through it now. I know that it's not my destiny to stay in the anxiety and panic and depression and unhappiness. It's my destiny to help other light workers and to help other spiritual people. And, I get to help my kids not shut their gifts off. And I get to hopefully help other people help their kids to not shut their gifts off. And, I didn't have hope before. I didn't have dreams before. I didn't know or think that I could have the life that I wanted before. It was just, I'm going to work until I die and I'm going to be able to barely pay my bills and my life's going to suck.
And how different is it for you now, mentally and emotionally, to have that entirely different outlook?
It's really different. So like my kids now, like when I started this work, my kids were what, like 8 and like 10 or 11, 12. And we used to say a lot, we can't do that, we're broke, we can't do that, we don't have money, we can't do that. And I've even had to shift that with them. They're like, oh, we're too broke for that, we're too poor. I'm like, no, we're not broke and we're not poor. We have everything we need. But something like that, we need to plan for. We need to save a little bit. Like it's even helping shift their mind. Like in my husband, he's a little bit harder, but it's like, you got to stop talking like that. Like I can't bring stuff in if you're over here like complaining about how much bread costs, So it's really like it's just, as you shift yourself, your family shifts, and then the people in your life shift, and you learn who you don't want in your life, and you learn how to have boundaries, and you're like, holy shit, that person's a fucking black hole in my life. Like I need to dump them. I need to get rid of them. Or you can learn to put up boundaries so that their energy doesn't affect you and you can still be nice to them if it's a family member or whatnot. It really, to go from never having hope or dreams to knowing I can have what I want and create what I want and do what I want and help people on a really impactful way instead of just doing marketing and design. And it's really life changing because, your mom always said, you can be whatever, do whatever you want, have whatever you want. I was like, that is such fucking bullshit. But the truth is like, you can have everything you want. You just have to be open to the possibilities and open to healing and shifting your mind and shifting your generational trauma and how our grandparents lived and our great grandparents and our parents, and knowing that we don't have to. Even my husband was like, at least I'm a little bit better than my dad and my dad's a little, you know what I mean? It's about making that impact. So like I said today, it's like, well, as long as my kids are a little less fucked up than I was, then, like I'm doing my job, so it's just, you get to have that impact on people in the world, where before I was like, okay, whatever, I just got to get through it.
What is one thing that people can do to start this journey for themselves? So let's say we're talking to people who are in that place where you were, with the heavy, not the cool weighted blankets that people are buying now that are really popular, but the bad one, the depressed one, the anxiety, the chronic pain, the struggle. Talk to the people that are under that blanket, and what is one thing they can do to start working towards better?
So like one super easy thing that you can do is on your phone, put reminders that are positive. And every time it comes up, you don't say that as bullshit. You say, I love myself. I am strong enough. And a really good one is for somebody who has not found relief. Maybe they take medication, maybe they go to therapy, and it's just not enough for them at this point. Spirit, God, universe, please bring me who and what I need to help me move forward. And I want to be happy. I want to do these things. And just say it every day. Have it as a reminder on your phone, because the more you see it, the easier, like you need to like feel it in your soul. And yes, it seems like bullshit, it seems stupid, but the more that you talk to yourself in a positive way, the more your soul and your body and spirit can believe that you're ready for that. And like spirit knows if you're just saying it and you don't believe it. So like you really have to start and just start small, like something like 2 or 3 mantras that like that really resonate with you. You know, I love myself. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am a good mom. I can find who and what I need to help me to accomplish my dreams, to feel better, to let go of my anxiety. And those are super simple ones. And just really be open. Like if you keep seeing a page come by that talks about Reiki or energy healing or tapping or breath work, you know, intuitive work, all, if you keep seeing those things coming by, it's not coincidence. There's no coincidence. There's always spirit's always trying to intervene, whether you understand it or not. They're trying to help you because spirit is only there for your highest and best good. So just give it to God, spirit, universe, whoever you want to call on, and just give it to them and just say, this is what I need. I need relief. I need to feel better. I need money to be easy. I need whatever it is you're needing. I need to find something to help my anxiety and my panic and my depression. I need to not feel like I don't want to be alive. I like whatever it is, put it out there and just be open to receiving. Because if maybe I'm popping up on your feed 10 times a day, it's like, why is this bitch on my feed fucking 50 times a day? There's a reason. So whether it's the message that I'm saying or something that I'm talking, maybe it's a modality, maybe it's Reiki, maybe it's your past lives, just start writing it down. Like, okay, well, I've seen the word Akashic Records 25 times this week. You know, that is not a coincidence. And if you keep seeing numbers that are repeating, if your animals keep showing up and you're like, oh my God, that's super weird. Or the song you're thinking of starts playing, or the TV like show you're watching, you're like, oh my God, I love that episode. And then it's on. Those are not coincidences. So really start paying attention to like what spirit universe is bringing you, because they're trying to answer your wishes. They're trying to answer your questions. They're trying to give you hope. And just being open to it. I always say spirit signs, spirit signs. So what are you getting for spirit signs? You know, how is spirit giving you confirmation? Because you don't have to be a confessed intuitive medium, psychic medium, whatever the hell you want to call yourself, to get those messages from spirit. I'm not chosen. Everybody has it. My kids have guides. Everybody has guides. Everybody has a spirit team and loved ones and all of the things. So just be open. Like it doesn't have to be scary. Just be open to what spirit and universe can bring you, because it can be really magical. It can be really transformative. Like maybe it's the therapist. Maybe they're going to drop this therapist ad on your fucking feed 45 times a day. Like, and maybe that's the person you need. Maybe that's the type of therapy you need. Maybe it's RTT therapy, the hypnosis, or, you know, just really be open to weird ass shit, because like, that's the only thing that worked for me.
I love it. And we're going to give out an assignment. We've done this a couple weeks now. So the assignment for viewers and listeners is to let us know, what is that one mantra, at least one of the mantras that you're going to start telling yourself on a daily basis. So that is what Erin and I want to hear. What is one of your mantras? Erin, we have talked about some tough things. We're going to take a quick turn here before I let you go. I spied a tattoo on your arm earlier.
I got lots of them.
And I'm in a hoodie again. It is May. It's May, but I'm in a hoodie. So you can't see my tattoos, but I love them. I have them. They're amazing. They tell stories. I want to hear about some of your tattoos and the stories that they tell.
So like this one is channeled from spirit. So it's called a personal power symbol. So it really helps you to clear, to protect yourself, to manifest. So I can use it on my clients. I can use it. I have it on a tattoo. I have it on a necklace. Whatever I'm writing out for my intentions, I put it there. So I channel from spirit. That comes from galactic beings. All the symbols that I channel come from galactic beings. And I have a huge sheet over here of them as well. And spirit was just very specific on, do you see like the color on my screen keeps going back and forth. And spirit's was very specific on where I need to put it. And this little one, probably can't see that one. So this one was from Isis, because I usually operate in the masculine. So this was a reminder. She was very specific. This is exactly where it needs to go. This is what, and it came through when I was doing a DNA activation class. She's like, it's a reminder for you to take care of yourself, to eat, to nurture yourself, that it's okay to do feminine things, you know. And that was why she wanted it exactly right there, because I will see it all day long as a reminder, you know. But it's like, okay, but most of my tattoos I've created or drawn, because if I'm putting it on my body, swear the color keeps changing here. If I'm putting it on my body, I want it to mean something. You know what I mean? So usually I draw or, design it on the computer. So, but yeah, those are my favorites. It was funny with the tattoo guy's like, what the hell does this mean?
Don't worry about
Where
it.
did it come from?
Do we have more tattoos coming?
Oh yeah. I was always like, I really don't like full arm tattoos on women, but I'm like, I kind of feel like that's out for me now. It's like, you just gotta, but I need like more, I have to have more skin removed. So I'm like, there's no point in doing that because, if I have to have it removed, there's like the forearms are fine, but going up, like there's still a lot of skin that has to make its way off of my body that can't go anywhere besides being cut off, unfortunately.
If spirit tells you to get a face tattoo, would you do it?
Oh, I don't know.
Because
is there a couple $1 million involved? I don't know if I could do it. I don't think the face is like, I think just look like my grandma just passed away. She was 100. And I'm like, dude, if I had a fucking tattoo on my face and I had like that 100-year-old face, I'm like, dude, I get shanked up in the retirement home or be like blacklisted or something, it's like, and my nephew's got like fuck off on his hands. And I'm like, dude, that's a little much.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all about tattoos and art, but I am with you on that. So yeah, I have a thing about face tattoos and actually neck tattoos, just for me. It's not me. It's not.
Did you watch that movie Meet the Millers where he says no regrets?
Yes.
That'd be my fun. That's what would happen to me. I mean, let's straight up like, it's like not only is it a bad tattoo, it's also fucking spelled wrong.
So no face. No neck. Excellent. Erin, where can people find you? So if they want to talk to you about Reiki, spirit, coaching, if they want to talk to you about the color purple, where can they find you?
My website is vintagemoons.com, and on Instagram it's Erin, ERIN, Vintage Moons. Erin Vintage Moons on Instagram, and Facebook I have a private group that's Vintage Moons also, because sometimes with spiritual stuff it's weird, so like it's just a private group that people can ask questions or like learn, because nobody wants to like have their grandma know that they're seeing aliens in their bedroom at night, like I mean, that's just not usually right out of the gate. People are a little bit more reserved, so
that makes sense.
Oh, and the Spiritual Badass podcast as well.
Nice. Erin, you have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today and sharing so many great things with the audience.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I hope you guys enjoyed my conversation with Erin as much as I did. I really appreciate her advice of starting to tell yourself mantras multiple times a day and truly believing the positive things that you're saying about yourself. So remember, until next week, you are strong enough, you are worth it. Thank you for listening to the Strong Enough podcast. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform by searching Strong Enough. And on YouTube, we're on the Spear Talk channel. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Strong Enough Pod. If you have suggestions for an upcoming episode or a future guest, please reach out at strongenoughpod@gmail.com. Remember, you are worth it.